going on, guys? Welcome to Coffee with Chello, episode 21. This is going to be a good one, guys. This is going to be an interesting one because I'm going to let you guys into my profile. Even though my profile is public, I've teamed up with Janine Hogan. Many of you guys know her. She has an outstanding podcast on talking about LinkedIn and allowing help. With her help, helps you to become an all-star here on LinkedIn. So I don't want to butcher it too much, but definitely want to let you guys know that she's going to be reviewing my profile. So before we go any further, I want to let you guys know that all opinions that I'm going to talk like the opinions of my organization. And the reason why I bring that up is that I work for the second largest waste and recycling company. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Marcello Arcele. I'm a waste stream analyst right here in Metro Atlanta. I work with small to medium-sized companies to help them implement sustainable solutions. It could be anywhere between helping them reduce their costs or allowing them to meet specific metrics to make sure that they get that specific bonus at the end of the year. But definitely want to let you guys know that. So if you know someone that I can help, please send them my way. So let me touch on a couple of things here for you. Let me know what part of the world you guys are watching us from. If you're watching us from Atlanta, Georgia, New York City, and my favorite place, Bangladesh, let me know that in the comments. Let me know if you're watching us Team Live. If you're watching us Team Live, put hashtag Team Live. If you're watching us on replay, we love you still. Put the hashtag Team Replay as well. The best part about this live is that if you have any questions on what Janine talks about, definitely make sure that you put a hashtag in there, Team Replay, and also tag her on it so she can respond to your questions on your profile as well. As I mentioned, this is Coffee with Chello, episode 21. Don't be shy, so definitely join us in the conversation. Share your questions and comments in there as well. And if you see something or hear something that you find of value, feel free to give us a thumbs up, give us a heart. So let me know that. I may zoom out a little bit. I know that you guys love me, but you don't love me that much. So let me zoom out a little bit. So let me bring on Janine Hogan. So she's going to help me dissect my profile, and she's going to do the same for you guys as well. Hey, Janine.
Hi, Marcello. How's it going?
Hey, doing very good. Thank you very much for joining me today. Let me go on the double here. So thank you very much for joining me today. I'm pretty excited to, pull back the curtains and allow you to dissect my profile. I know that LinkedIn gurus and people that are specialized in optimizing profile, I've been watching you for a very long time. I've been watching your profile. I've been watching your podcast or listening to your podcast for some time now. So I'm quite honored to have you as a guest today. And be kind. So before I go any further, please, I want to let folks give you an opportunity to tell folks about yourself and how you help others here on LinkedIn.
Oh, thank you so much. And I am honored to be here with you. And thank you for signing up and doing this profile review with me. That's really important. So that's what it's all about. I'm here to help as many people as possible get a better experience with LinkedIn, to reach the right audience with the right message on LinkedIn. I think that's a big key. So I do review your profile with you. I write profiles. I have a lot of clients that come to me and work with me to develop their personal brand and write profiles for LinkedIn as well. So it's all about getting the right message to the right people at the right time. And preparation meets opportunity. That's the definition of luck. So if you're doing all the things that you can do to prepare for when that opportunity presents itself, then you should be good to go. So LinkedIn is definitely a really great professional place. I love spending time on LinkedIn. I love meeting great people like you. And it's a great way to connect with your communities and businesses and other people that you can provide your services and products to and help others along the way. So so what we do in these profile reviews, and also, Marcello, thank you for listening to the podcast. That's really awesome, and I certainly appreciate you as a listener. And also for suggesting that we do this live. A lot of people are, a little intimidated by live video, especially when you're kind of putting yourself out there and allowing me to critique what's in your profile. But it's not so much about a critique. It's more about what we can do to improve it and to get things right for your personal brand. So thank you for making this a suggestion. I think this will help a lot of people. And maybe if you guys, want to do a profile review with me, we could do that on Zoom at any time. So let's jump right in. So
I will just, given that says, sorry to interrupt, I have your page up right now here on your website, showing folks where they could actually sign up for the complimentary profile page.
That's perfect. Yep. It's a 30-minute session, and we'll do it on Zoom. I love face-to-face. I feel like that gives gives us the best way to connect and gives me a really good feel for who you are. So it's really nice to do the one-on-ones. I love it. And this is just one-on-one times 100. So it's awesome. So thank you too. This is great. And the way that I normally do the profile review is I go through your profile with you from top to bottom. So we talk about your visuals and how they connect with your story. And then we'll go through the most relevant sections and see how they're supporting your overall message. But before I even start doing that, why don't you share with me what your goals are with LinkedIn and what you're trying to accomplish?
That's a good question. Ultimately, what I want to use LinkedIn is to stay relevant with my existing customers, and also anyone that I connect with yesterday, or I might connect with today, or even tomorrow, find a way to organically follow up with them. Meaning that the posts that I create on LinkedIn, I'll make sure that it resonates with the people that I'm doing business with, but that I feel that if I put something that makes sense to them or they find valuable, it goes up on their streams. So for instance, if I meet you today, Ms. Hogan, and we talk about a specific program for your facility, then I'm going to send you a follow-up email. However, if you don't respond within a day or two, I could post something that makes sense to your industry or your company, then I could organically follow up in your stream, either with a LinkedIn Live or a post. So that's how ultimately I wanted to find a way to either strengthening my existing bond with my customers.
Okay, great. So if you've been listening to the podcast, I talk a lot about how your profile is the very first conversation that you're having with a potential client or anyone who's going to come to visit your profile, right? So when we do that, we want to make sure that we're solving their problems right away, that we're showing your value right up front so that they know exactly what it is that you offer and how you can be a solution for them. So are you ready to jump in to your profile review?
Yeah. I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up on the page right now.
Okay.
I'm kind of scared, but
don't be scared.
We have to jump right in. So give me a second.
I'm kind, but I'm honest. So I'm not going to put any fluff around it. We're going to talk about what's good, what's bad, what needs to be improved. So that's why you're here with me today, though, right? Like you want to get some value.
Exactly right. You nailed it. So I'm bringing up my page right now, and I'm sure you have my profile on your end, so I'll bring it up on my end in the meantime. Now, sure. Before I move any further, folks that are watching the live stream right now, we're talking to Janine Hogan. She's a LinkedIn specialist. She's a copywriter. She basically knows her stuff when it comes down to presenting your best self on LinkedIn or even on social media. Guess what, guys? I volunteered to get my profile dissected. So she's going to help, look at my profile. She's going to give me her personal opinion and help me ensure that my profile meets the individuals and companies that I want to do business with. So I definitely want to let you guys know that's what we're talking about today.
Thank you, honey. Oh boy.
Do we have a guest to join us?
We do. Yeah. If most of you, if you've ever listened to the podcast before, you guys know that I have a toddler. So she helped me make her eggs this morning and decided that she wanted more. So she brought me a new cracked egg. So
you gotta love a kid that knows what they want.
She is very sweet and she's very independent. And sometimes, I go in the kitchen and she's scaling the countertops, looking for plates and cups and all sorts of stuff. So she's like her mom. We're very independent women over here.
Well, while you virtually create some eggs, I wanted to give a shout out to folks that are watching the stream right now. I want to say, hey, Michael, thank you very much for joining us today, Michael Rivera. I also got Pat Hermers. He's a gentleman that he also a podcaster. He was on my show a few weeks ago, or several weeks ago. So, Pat, thank you very much for joining us today. But I got my boy James in the house as well. We got Don all the way from Atlanta, right here, Metro Atlanta. And then lastly, I have Yvonne Young. Thank you very much for watching us live. So let's go ready. Let me bring up my profile right now and bring it up on the screen. And here we go. So here's my profile. So go right ahead.
Okay, let's get started. So go back and tell me, in an elevator style pitch, in a little bit of a nutshell, what it is that you do and who you're helping.
I provide, rather than putting any buzzwords, I'll break it down to the most simplest. I provide recycling and waste services for small to medium and lastly, large organizations here in Metro Atlanta. That's bottom line what I offer.
Okay. I take notes as we go, just so you know.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Now, are you the owner of your company?
No, I'm not.
Okay. What is your role?
I'm a sales representative.
Okay. 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 Give me 1 second, Marcello, before I get started.
All right, guys. So in the meantime, I want to give a shout out. So Pat, thank you very much for your comment. Definitely, Pat, put a link to your profile and also put a link to your podcast as well, so folks can connect with you as well. Go right ahead, Janine.
Okay, so let's start. I always start with visuals because that's one of the first things that people take note of when they're looking for you, when you're coming up in a search. So Marcello, I've spoken with you now several times. We've done some video messaging back and forth, which I love. You have a really wonderful, warm personality about you, and I would actually like to see that reflect a little bit more in the profile image that you have here. So it's a little standoffish. Maybe it's just the cropping. You know, my father's a professional headshot photographer. He's done corporate headshots his entire life, so I've seen thousands of them and helped to critique thousands of them. So I definitely think that we could get an image here that shows how wonderful you are to speak with, something that's very welcoming. I think if you're planning on keeping this image, the things that I do like about it, you have a very simple background. There's nothing distracting going on behind your head, but majority of the profile image is your jacket, right? So like, I don't really see your eyes. I don't see your expression. I want to see this either cropped in and tightened up a little bit more around your face, maybe like neck up, or get another image altogether. So I don't know if you've done, I don't know if you've hired
to get a new image, I guess.
Maybe. I mean, if this is, I don't know if this was a professional headshot or something that was just taken on the cuff, but if you are going to change up this image, then I would work with a professional headshot photographer who can do that for you and who can really get the essence of who you are. So in knowing you, in this little bit of time that I've known you, I don't feel that this really reflects that. And I feel like you could do better. So I want to see that smile, and I want to see your eyes and your expression. And, because you got to remember that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So we want this image to be a very trustworthy image. So that's the first thing that I would suggest there is we do something a little different with this profile image. And then, quite honestly, I like the image that you have for your banner. However, it doesn't reflect, if you're working with small, medium, and large size businesses, this is residential. So I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect there for what your brand offers. So I think having a banner that reflects a little bit more of who your target is probably going to help you quite a bit. And then we want to put some copy on this banner. We want to have your name and some type of a tagline or a belief statement or something that will help you to kind of get your message going right off the bat. If I look at a profile like a story, your banner is the cover. It's the book cover. So we want to have a title on it. We want to have an image there that's going to draw people in, but also that reflects what the rest of what we're going to find in your story. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. I appreciate that. And it's funny as you bring up the banner. It was something that I liked, and it looked good. I think the main reason why I selected it was people of color, and it reflects who I am, and it was also the company that I represent. But I see your point is that if my targeted client is commercial, this makes perfect sense. It is a mind blown. I mean, literally earlier we had some jokes and we were talking about that. I should. We were going through hiccups, but as you say that, I definitely know that it makes perfect sense. Hello, dude.
Yeah.
Commercial. I get it. So I'll definitely make that change. I appreciate that. Good advice.
Yeah. Because you got to remember, there's two places that you're going to show up. For one, it's going to be in a direct LinkedIn search with the LinkedIn search bar. The other is going to be through my network, right? There's a little tab, a little icon at the top of the bar that says my network. And when you show up as a suggestion for people to connect with, your banner is an image that pops up there. So, you have a lot of visibility through that banner. And sending the right message with it. A lot of the times people browse through and they just look at whatever pictures they see, right? So like they're looking at the banner, they're looking at your profile headshot, and then they're also seeing your headline. So it needs to connect.
Okay.
I
thank you for the advice. I get that. I will definitely make those changes immediately.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good for you.
So where are we going next, Janine?
So what we do from here is once we have all those visuals really buttoned up, that's going to lead you into your headline. Okay. So for you, this has a lot of keywords in it, and I want everybody to know, and especially you, since this is your profile review, there are a lot of places throughout the LinkedIn profile. Those keywords work just as well for getting you found in searches. They're very SEO friendly in the skills section. So it's a little, first of all, it's redundant to have them in your headline. And second, if you're using all that valuable real estate just for keywords, you're missing the opportunity to provide your value proposition, your benefit statements, the thing that tells people right away what it is that your product or service can do. Okay. So I know that you've checked out my profile, and mine actually, my headline says, the LinkedIn profile master, helping you get the right message to the right audience on LinkedIn, because that is really the true benefit that I provide. Okay. So we want to always look at what it is that you provide and speak to that. So, if your banner is your book cover, then your headline is going to be your title. Okay. So it needs to draw you in, and it needs to frame it. Yeah. So there's a system, and LinkedIn kind of knew what it was doing when it put this together. So all these pieces need to connect and help to tell your story. So with a really strong headline, we want to know exactly what it is that you do and who you help.
So the headline it should mirror what I said earlier. Obviously, a bit better framed, but essentially what I said earlier when you asked me what I do for the company. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah. There needs to be it's almost like having a little bit of an elevator pitch. If you can do it in 200 or 240 characters or less. So the other thing you want to consider is a really great headline that has a strong benefit statement is going to make you stand out when you come up in a LinkedIn search for people who do what you do or offer the same type of product or service that you have to offer. So, if everybody's had these same keywords, how would they differentiate you, right? So they don't. Just using keywords doesn't do that. So the things that are going to make people give you the click first is going to be that benefit statement, because it's something that they can connect with. Yeah.
That resonates with me, because what you're saying is basically, it's great that I have all that information in my headline. However, I'm in a bucket among everyone else. Mm-hmm. Why should somebody choose to do business with me versus someone else?
Exactly. That's exactly right. So you need to grab their attention first. It's a numbers game. So when you show up in that search, you're among thousands of other people that do the same thing that you do. So what makes you different? So that's what you want to think about. How is that going to make you stand out?
Yeah. Oh, I feel kind of bruising. Not battered yet, but a little bruised. But thank you. I appreciate it. I needed this. I need this, really. I know I needed this, because I've been producing some shows on LinkedIn, and that's something that I've been wanting to find a way to talk about also on my profile. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure. I'm not ready yet to set that up, but that's something that I'll cross that bridge yet. Right now, my bread and butter is 9 to 4, so I want to focus on that.
Well, one of the things that you can do also, Marcello, is you can set up, if you want to take this brand that you're building, Coffee with Chello, you can build a company page for it, and you can, get that going on LinkedIn as well. You can do a LinkedIn page that is relevant for what it is that you're doing for your own, your own brand, in addition to wanting this goal of attracting new clients for your day job or your career, whatever it is. And then you can also supplement it with, a company page that can talk about all of this. And then you can start to promote that as well that way.
Perfect. Thank you. Give me 1 second. I definitely want to bring up your page up right now midstream and share with folks that if you just happen to tune in right now, we're talking to Janine Hogan. Janine Hogan is a LinkedIn profile master, and she's helping you to get the right message to the right audience using LinkedIn. So I'm going to bring up our page right now, and I volunteered to share, to have my profile assessed by her, and that's what we're doing right now, literally live. So I definitely want to let you guys know if you need that kind of advice. Quite frankly, we all do. And that's the only way that we grow. Definitely ask you to connect with her today and sign up for her 30-minute assessment that you can complete via Zoom. So that's what we're doing today. In the meantime, I wanted to reach out and thank the folks that are watching us live. We have Danny. What's going on, Danny? Thank you very much for joining us today. My dude, James, I appreciate the hashtags. What's going on, sir? Pat, thanks for putting a link to your profile page and also to your podcast. I got Coach Erica's in the house right here. She's our recruitment specialist. Thank you very much for tuning in today. And anyone else that I missed out, I got Yvonne, I mentioned earlier. So let's get back to business. Let me bring up my page up again. Give me 1 second. Now, in the meantime, while I bring up my page, Jenny, was it something that you wanted to bring up that we haven't talked about as of yet on my profile?
Yeah, we're going to jump into your about summary.
Okay, here we go. So we're going to right into it right now. I'm gonna bring it up full page. Go right ahead, Janine.
Okay. So this is the core, right? Getting into your about summary here. This is the core of your profile. So everything that we've done all up until this point needs to lead you here. And this is where you get to tell that personal story. So as you know, this is not a story.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you. I agree.
So these are, what we want to do with a story, and the way that I structure them is, they need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. There needs to be some introduction as to who you are, who you help. And then what I do is I always focus on your target audience when it comes to an about summary. I don't put a lot of emphasis on just explaining what it is that you do. I always talk about what their needs are, what their problems are or their challenges and how you provide the solution and how you do it. So that's really the story that we want to be telling. We want to know and speak to your ideal audience as much as possible and solve their problem. Be the person that they think of first when they need the solution that you're providing. So when we do that, innovators, these are all wonderful things about you, and I'm sure they're absolutely true, but that's not what people are going to care about. They're going to care about how all of these things solve their problem. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
That makes perfect sense, because this is something that, just to be honest with you and be transparent, before I started using LinkedIn as a tool, just shy of 2 years ago, I utilized LinkedIn as a way to dump my resume. And many people have done the same, but however, that's how I used it. And to this day, I still use it that way. So, and I've done some tweaks here and there, but essentially it's still a resume dump. So I agree with that my about page has to be tweaked, because it doesn't speak to exactly who my ideal client is now and who I want to stay connected with after today.
That's right. Yeah. And then once that summary gets worked out, you also want to give them something to do. You want them to have a call to action at the bottom. So whether that's just to connect with you on LinkedIn, or, maybe you have a consultation that you offer that you want them to schedule to learn more about your products or services, whatever that call to action is should also be in your summary. I treat a summary like a big part of your story, but I write them in a way that drives action, right? So I have a sales writing background with it. So as a copywriter, that's what we're trained to do. We're trained to sell with words. But, I've kind of blended the personal brand experience with writing that way, so that it explains everything that it needs to do. It establishes your personal brand. It provides a solution that's part of the sales process. And then you're also giving them a call to action at the end. So it gives them...
Before we move on further, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
it's okay.
We see a lot of people here on LinkedIn, and you see them as well, that are LinkedIn guru. And a couple of them are, some of them are my connection friends, and I love them as well. But but let's get down to the facts. Why should someone reach out to you when they're when they want to make a change on their profile and resonates with either with their ideal client, or if they're looking for the ideal job? I mean, I heard the copywriting, but tell me why exactly, what the meat and potato, why should somebody choose you?
Thanks. That's actually a really good question. So in all honesty, people resonate with stories, right? Everything we do in life, there's a story behind it. There's a story as to, how you got this job. There's a story behind why I became a copywriter. I can tell you, I had always been a copywriter and I didn't even know it. I mean, I was in marketing jobs, business development jobs. I was doing trade shows across the country. I was in sales in that capacity, and I was always writing, and that was the place that I felt I added value with what it was that I'm doing for my employers, and making sure that the right message was getting out there, that we were saying the things that we needed to say. And at the end of the day, it just kind of clicked with me about 10 years ago that that's really what I was. And I didn't even know that that's what I was, right? And it was at a time when I really wanted to work for myself and help other people. And I couldn't do that by working for somebody else in a marketing position, so to speak. Like, yes, maybe I could use my copywriting abilities to send emails and, keep up with web copy and all of that. And maybe that one particular product would help people who it served. But what I wanted to do was, the part of the sales process that I always enjoyed the most was meeting new people every single day and learning what their story was and being able to help whatever it was that they needed. So I wanted to focus more on the individuals. And I had landed my first LinkedIn client by someone I wrote a resume for a while back. And he came to me and said, I do most of my business on LinkedIn. I want you to help me. So I said, absolutely. So I wrote his profile, and within that first week, he was able to connect with a key decision maker at the Huffington Post to get a meeting and land a deal with them for he does like digital advertising and ad tech. So it was an amazing experience, not just for him, but for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really where I felt the most excitement. I was like, I loved hearing that success. And then I realized that people really need help. So part of where I think that, and from what people have told me, a lot of people don't know how to ask the right questions to focus on what their value is as a personal brand. Everybody is a personal brand. You are an entrepreneur, whether you like it or not. Okay. So if you're in a sales position, or you're doing marketing, or you are an entrepreneur, or you're a writer, or whatever position, you have to have an entrepreneurial mindset. So you have to think of yourself like a personal brand, whether you're working for somebody or you're working for yourself, because it's the value that you bring to the table. A lot of people don't know how to define that value, nor do they know how to put it into words. And even if they can put it into words, they have to do it in a very succinct way, because you only get 2,000 characters to do it in on a LinkedIn profile summary. That's roughly like 300 to 350 words. It's a short story at its shortest. So it all has to be accomplished within that little bit of space. And coming from a storyteller's background and a copywriter's background, I blend the two together really well. So I love telling this story about myself, but I still have them in a box. I've been writing creative stories and fictional stories since I was a child. I've got little illustrated children's books that I've written that I plan on handing down to my daughter when she's old enough to read them. And I created them when I was 7, 8 years old. I've always been a storyteller. I love speaking from a character's point of view. So when I sit down with somebody and I go through my discovery process, and we talk about all of the benefits that you offer, all of the things that make you unique, and we talk about your target audience, I spend about a good 2 hours or so doing that call. And I do it one-on-one because it gives me a really good sense of who you are as a person. But then I'm able to translate that in your voice, like you're the character of your story. Hi, Nora.
Hey, Laura.
So I think what makes me a little bit different is that I have that creative storytelling ability and the professional writing and copywriting ability, and I blend the two together. Yes, ma'am.
And you have Laura.
I have Nora, and she's my big inspiration, and this is live video, guys. Sometimes you get interrupted. You can't edit this stuff out.
No, it's so cute. It's so cute. I appreciate you sharing that. I see, mind you, this is when it comes down to it, it's just I love about live video, and I love that we can actually be provide a platform to share with folks why they should choose you versus someone else. You have Nora that needs a scrambled egg right now. At the same time, the key thing is that you have the passion, and this is not something you chose to do because of COVID. I'm sorry.
No, it's not at all.
A lot of people have pivoted since COVID, and a lot of people might want to become a LinkedIn specialist all of a sudden. I'm far from it. I rely on individuals like Janine, and this is why you guys watching this live video is essential, because her advice and her tips is going to allow you to supercharge your profile to the point that it actually resonates with either your ideal employer or essentially your ideal client. So before we move forward to dissecting the other sections of my profile, did you have something else to add?
I think that's it in a nutshell, really. I think that these profiles are really important. I have to be completely honest with you. It changed my business completely when I started to use LinkedIn just for myself. And to be able to, you know, give you guys even more information through my podcast too. It was just an area that I felt was really important for so many people to be successful. And I wanted to help as many people as possible. So that's really the mission that I'm setting out for. You know, I really want to make sure that I help you fine tune your message so that you can help more people with the product or service that you have as well. So, and I love doing them. They're really fun, and I love learning about people on an individual basis and what it is that you bring to the world. I mean, I don't like doing the same thing every day, and I love learning about new industries and new topics and new, anything. So it's intriguing for me to be in this space because I get exposure to all of those things as well. So it opens up my world quite a bit and keeps me, it fills that bucket of having to have, new information. And I never stop learning. So it's really enjoyable. It's a great path for me to be on. And it's even better when I hear the successes that people are having with LinkedIn through it. So yeah, so that's all I would really add. But I want to make this more about you today than about me.
I think, Janine, I want to definitely. I'll be remiss if I didn't have taken an opportunity to allow folks to learn a little bit more about you personally. And as you guys could hear, but even better, see, you can see that Janine is coming from the best place. She's coming from because she cares and she wants to help. And it doesn't hurt that she knows her stuff. So that combined, that's going to provide an opportunity to really have a profile that is optimum for your ideal client or to get your ideal position. Because, think about the people that do these resume and enhancements or even profile changes. It's good, but the key thing is that you want to make sure that it matches with who you want to do business with or your ideal employer. So, Janine, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself and also letting folks know why you do what you do. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you too, and that was very thoughtful of you, and I appreciate it, giving me that opportunity to do that. And I want to also just touch on something that you said. The idea is you want to be able to attract more of your ideal client or the ideal situation for yourself. LinkedIn gives you a lot of power when it comes to organic reach, which is unheard of compared to a lot of the other platforms. Like you can't get that on Facebook, right? You have to literally beat the algorithm in order to get any attention, and it's a full-time job. So with LinkedIn, they allow you to have way more organic reach on a more simplified level. So the idea is if your profile is prepared and it speaks to the right people and it highlights the right things and you're solving the right problems, you're going to attract more of what it is that of the people that you're looking to help or the people that you want to work for, your ideal employers, your ideal clients, or connections that you can network with to grow your business. I mean, that's really what it's all about. So, I said it in the beginning, preparation meets opportunity. You got to do these steps to make sure that your profile is prepared so that it speaks for you when you're not able to, when you're sleeping, when you're out to lunch, when you have client calls and you've got work you have going on. You can't be on social media, right? So your profile, when people land on you, it needs to do that job for you. It needs to be able to have this conversation on some level on its own so that it can be the first conversation that you're having if the face-to-face is not available.
No, I agree. And especially given that everything has gone virtual nowadays, it's paramount to have a profile or have your representation online mirror who you really want to be or your best self.
Yeah.
So before we move forward, I definitely wanted to highlight folks that are echoing what you're saying. So we got Ms. Young. She's saying yes, or better yet, like my daughter says, yeah.
Yeah.
Danny saying, hey, for the personal tips. We also got James talking about be your own brand. Thank you. I appreciate that support. We got Ms. Michael. She's saying hello. Hey, what's going on? And Ms. Young loves what you're talking about. But also, she mentioned earlier she wanted to know what is the name of your podcast. Can you share that with the folks?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It is called the All-Star LinkedIn Profiles Podcast.
And I'll when you get a chance, I'll you could either on the replay put a link to your podcast page
Sure.
so they can actually sign up as well. Another thing she talked about here, Ms. Jones, said a lot of people are struggling with the COVID pivot. I guess that's something we could address at the end because I'm sure you probably have some insight to talk about that. So if it's okay with you, you mind we get back to the profile section?
Absolutely. Do you have any questions for me about the summary and how that should be accomplished?
No, it just surmise what I heard with you saying that this section should tell a story. If anything, this is where once upon a time, Marcello Arcele, I'm joking, but you get the gist. This is where you tell your story of why someone should choose to do business with me versus someone else.
Yeah, there's some profiles that I can share with you that are previous clients of mine, and I can give you, I can DM them to you so you can kind of get a feel for, what the flow is like. And they're all in different industries. So you'll see like, okay, this is sales, this one's that, and the stories all look different, right? Because everybody's going to have a little bit of a different story, a little different purpose. So yours is going to be unique to you. And that's the other thing. I'm not a template writer, right? Like I take everything, I take all the information, and your story becomes a completely unique. Right? I'm not plugging in. I'm not, like, oh, I have to put keywords here. No, we don't do that. It tells your story like a conversation. And also another tip, this is one thing that I notice, and I don't understand why you mentioned gurus. I'm not a guru fan at all in any industry. But a lot of the gurus, like there's people that are like, well, somebody gave me this advice and they told me that I had to write my profile in third person. Do not do that ever, because, I'm not sitting here saying to you, Janine Hogan is a profile writer, and Janine Hogan loves writing LinkedIn profiles. Janine Hogan was always a storyteller. It's so awkward, right? Like nobody talks like that. Talk in I and you. Address your audience directly as if they're the ones that you are writing that message to. So
directly.
Yes, directly. So just, stay away from third person profiles, write it in the I and you form, and make sure that you're addressing, somebody personally instead of, trying to get an outsider's perspective of, what you're all about. I mean, to me, that's a big turnoff when I see that on LinkedIn. It's like, and I get it. Look, I understand writing for yourself is hard. I know that. That's why I do what I do. It's why I'm in business. Yeah, it's hard, and you're often too close to what it is that you're doing. So you think that you have to put everything but the kitchen sink in there, and that's not true. So, those are some little extra little gold nuggets that I can throw at you. But
thank you.
Aside from that, anything else you want me to address about the summary?
No, I mean, this is what I heard, like I said earlier, this is where I tell a compelling story about me as a person and why should somebody do business with me. I guess, would this be also I guess you really can't go into a long, like I joked earlier, once upon a time. It's not once upon a time. This is currently my story, my current story. Would that be correct?
Yes, and don't confuse story with having to go deep into your background and all of that. Your personal brand, right away, you can jump into value, present some value right off the bat. Maybe that's in a statement about your philosophy, something that you believe. I'm working with a client right now, and we're tying in. She's a huge sports fan, and one of the things that she's really passionate about is soccer. So her banner in her particular field, it works really well. So her banner is a background image of the Liverpool Stadium. And we did a tagline that says, I had her name there, and then her tagline is turning customers into loyal fans. And right there against that tagline, you've got all the fans with all their banners, and they're like, super excited. So one of the first things that we said in her profile, the first line was, let me get it right because I don't want to say it wrong. I'll tell you. But this is part of how you want all these things to tie together. So her, on her banner, her tagline was turning customers into loyal fans. And then one of the first things that she says in the profile is loyal fans build successful businesses. Okay. So that is a statement that leads into what this story is going to be about. Okay. So it's not so much about, hey, I'm Marcello, I've been in this, and this, and, currently I'm working for blah, 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 blah. And, it needs to have some energy. It needs to have some excitement, but it really should, it should support your overall, attributes, but what it is that you're offering to your clients, the things that are going to be the most important that they're going to want to listen to. So, so then we kind of go through the profile based on, those initial statements. Okay. So it's like, those are the things that we're highlighting. Those are the things that are going to resonate with your target. And then we're drawing them in, right? We're kind of hooking them with it's just like reading the first line of a book. It's got to draw you in immediately.
That makes perfect sense. And folks that are just tuning in right now, I want to let you guys know we're talking to Janine Hogan. She's a personal brand copywriter right here on LinkedIn. And when it comes down to it, she's the LinkedIn profile master, helping you get the right message out to the right audience utilizing LinkedIn. And for the past few minutes, she's been helping me dissect my profile, showing me areas of improvement. And as if you're watching this live, you definitely want to watch the replay. Also, you might even want to do as much as Ms. Young mentioned earlier on the conversation here. She mentioned here, let me bring it up. Ms. Young said she's definitely going to be sharing this episode with her network. So if you see value in this conversation, please share it with your network, share it with other people that could see value of what Janine is talking about. So definitely recommend that for you guys to do that. And also, if you guys like what you're listening to, give me a like, give me a heart, and tell me if you're watching live. Put hashtag Team Live. If you're watching replay, put hashtag Team Replay. So I appreciate that. Let's get back to the previously scheduled program. So so go right ahead. So we're here. So we got our profile up here. So go right ahead, Janine.
Yeah. So the next thing I'm going to jump into on the profile review is the experience section. And in this one, I think yours is represented really well. What I like to see here is this is the backup proof. This is how, all of these things have kind of, they're going to support with facts and results what we've talked about, the ways that you are, helping your clients in your about summary. We want your experience section to be able to back that up. Okay. Because we don't have a lot of space to talk about all of these accomplishments in a summary section, right? You only have 2,000 characters. It's not a lot of words. So your experience section, we've already asked them to do a lot of the heavy reading in the summary. So I like to see this bullet pointed and very succinct, which is what you've done here. And I like it. So, and in your line of work, in sales and business development, it's a little bit easier to kind of bullet point sales results and metrics and numbers. Some people, in other fields don't have that luxury, but there is a way to do it where you're still talking about the results of what it is that you've accomplished in these roles. So,
Janine, let me ask you a question about this section.
Mm-hmm.
Often I hear that this section should not read as a resume. As you can tell, mine resonates as a resume. I'm talking about exactly my sales goals.
This is absolutely where it can reflect a little bit more of your resume, as long as you are adding in results or outcomes or, purposes of what these things meant. Like what was the goal and how did these things accomplish the goal? I mean, there's a number of ways that we can work in this section, but this is where it should resemble a little bit more of your resume, but not be exactly your resume. Okay. So I love that you have some attachments in here. That's a really great place to put those. But yes, I think that what you have in your experience section, especially in this line of work, you're talking about leads, you're talking about revenue, you're talking about closing ratios, market share growth. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that is going to back up why you're so valuable from your summary. Okay. So I really like that. I think that yours is pretty spot on. One of the mistakes that I see a lot of people make in the experience section is they put company descriptions and they don't talk about themselves. They don't talk about how they've added value in their role. What
do you mean by that?
So I'll see them instead of having, for lack of a better word, your resume in here, they will have, they'll just have company descriptions on, like, let's say we're using Republic Services. It'll just say
company jargon. Is that what you're talking about?
No, they'll literally copy and paste from a company website. It'll say Republic Services provides blah, 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 blah. And it says nothing about their position, about the accomplishments, about their results, about anything that can be substantial backup information.
I guess I'll say like what James is saying. He mentioned hashtag value. You're not really providing your personal value. Would you echo that sentiment?
Can you repeat the question? I'm not sure I understand it.
James just commented that is not providing your personal value. Is really
when you do that, when you write in, yes, exactly. And you know what? If people really want to find out more about Republic Services, they can go to the company page to do that. The company itself is a link to that page. Let the company talk about that. This is your profile. This is the place where we need to highlight you. Don't talk about the company. Nobody cares. They're not on the company page. They're on your page, right? So learn, put everything that they need to learn about you on this profile. I actually, I browsed through yours here. I actually think your experience section looks really strong.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just doing one more browse through here. The only thing I would say, and this is, I know it was a long time ago, but just for consistency, the AT&T section here, I would break up this heavy text and, just put some spacing between the different, so like solicit, print, and online advertising, and then do your next line with a space in between. You don't even have to bullet point it, but just break up those ideas because it's a little heavy. This should be very browsable. They should be able to get the information very quickly by just browsing through it. We've already asked them to read quite a bit throughout the rest of the profile, so this should be the quick information. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. You make a good point on that one. It's the best way to put it is the way I feel, and I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this have been in this scenario. So imagine someone says, "Hey, let's hang out," and you hang out, you get together, and the evening is coming near, and you're like, "Hey, let's get back to your place." I'm like, I don't know. My profile doesn't look too good. So mind you, I knew my profile wasn't the best, but now as she broke it down, I could definitely see that these are simple tweaks I could have done on my own. However, what she provides when it comes down to the copywriting, I cannot do it. However, the things that she's talking about right now, you can do that today before scheduling a call with her. So Janine, thank you very much for highlighting this.
Of course. That's why I'm here.
Okay, and I want to be respectful of your time. So I know right now we're right at an hour, so I wasn't sure if how much time you have. So continue on. Let me know if we need to wrap up or if you have a few more minutes.
I do have a few more minutes, and the last section that I go through on a review and is the skills and endorsements section. So
Okay.
remember in the beginning, I had talked about you have a lot of keywords hanging out in your headline. Well, this is kind of the best place to put those keywords because the skills section is a highly, highly searchable SEO friendly section. So anything that you put in here is going to help you get found in searches for those particular things. So what I would do for you, Marcello, is I would go through and take all of these keywords that are in your headline, and I would make sure that they are in your skills section. So
Okay.
that's a really great place for them to kind of live and
I
do
guess
their
this is it,
job.
right? So this is where we're talking about. So I'll open this up here, and this is where you're talking about in here, right?
Yeah, and your skills. Yep.
Let me go to the top.
Yeah.
And I'll zoom out a little bit. Can you still see it on your end? And
I could see it. It's yeah, I can see it.
Oh,
there
yeah,
we go. There we go.
yours.
Yeah. So, for me to tell you exactly which of these, I mean, everything here looks pretty clean. I'm not sure how Amazon Web Services fits in, but that, maybe.
Yeah, I took a course on it. That's the reason why I put it there.
Oh, okay.
And at one point or another, you could, let's say if you add, let me see where you could do it. Okay, here we go. So in this section, if you take a skill quiz,
Mm-hmm.
you could choose the quiz that you want to take the quiz on, and then if you pass it, then it shows that you are a subject matter expert in that area. So it is specific questions that you're being asked. Obviously, it doesn't apply to my current role, but
right. So here's the thing that you want to be careful of, because anything that you put in there, if you get found for that, can you, does it really apply? Is it something that you want to offer somebody? Is it something that, makes sense for your personal brand? I don't know. I mean, we haven't done a discovery session to really know that, to see how that adds any value. But just keep in mind that what you put in here is searchable. So if you don't want to be found for, let's say, customer service, then you probably don't want to have that in your skills section. But that's just like a little extra tip. It doesn't hurt, and I don't know many people who are searching for, Amazon Web Services. I don't know, but you just got to be careful. Like you don't want to be found for. You don't put everything but the kitchen sink in here, just to show that you have a skill. If you don't actually want to be found for it, or put it to good use, I should say.
No, I get what you're saying. I think that, I know that I maxed out the different how many skills you can put on here, and I found anything that I could speak to and I have knowledge on, I put it on this page. But I see what you're saying. Even though it was something that it may not be something that I'm looking into receiving either solicitation or exploring an opportunity, don't list it if that's not the case.
Yeah. That would be my mindset on it. And then also, I don't know how you would rank these for yourself, but until you click that show more button, all you see is 3. Okay, so you see 3 skills. You've got contract negotiation, social media, and sales process. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to make sure that those are your top 3, the things that you most want to be known and endorsed for. And then if you ever wanted to switch them up to get more endorsements, you can. But initially, I do like to see, the 3 strongest as your top 3 pins in the skills. I mean, these sound like they would probably be you, but I think we're kind of missing a key one, which would be, let's see if I can find it in here. I feel like the waste management or the recycling solutions, that one of these can maybe replace one of the others, just because it's such a key component. Yes, sweetheart.
I want to
Okay.
Who's Mommy's sitting on?
She's used to watching mom work. It's cool. She's my little cheerleader.
No, I guess you're right. I see what you're saying. Given that I'm in the industry, the environmental solutions industry, having one of those on as my top three, either solid waste or special waste, makes sense. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That's one of the only other things I would change there.
Okay.
You have nice recommendations. I mean, everything else looks, pretty.
Okay. I don't. You know what? I think I redeemed myself at the end.
Yes.
The meat of it, I need some work on. So I definitely appreciate that.
Of course.
All right. So let me go back to where we were earlier. Let me bring up some of the. I'm gonna start again. That's how I start again, wiping my mouth. So let's see what folks are saying. So here we have someone made a comment. Let me see if I can bring up that comment here. It's a bit long. I can only bring it up on LinkedIn. So give me 1 second. I'm not able to bring it up, but let me see what it says here. I will refrain from including your book of business on LinkedIn. So that it goes back to what I mentioned earlier. This person doesn't have specific settings, so I can't see their name on the screen. But this person says that they refrain from putting the numbers, like achieving 30% the goal, 40% closing ratio, that kind of thing. And I think I mentioned earlier that people feel two different ways on this section. Either you should have it listed as a resume, so you show numbers, but I also I've heard individuals say that this area should only talk about how you help or how you work with said clients, excluding numbers or exceeding, 300% the goal. So what's your thought on that? I just want to circle back on that.
Yeah. So if we are using your summary section to explain how it is that you actually help your clients, then if I am a potential client, I want to know, it's basically, I want to have some proof, right? So I use the experience section as that proof. Now, where I can see it get a little tricky, and this has happened before, some organizations and some companies don't want their numbers to be posted. They don't want those sales metrics to be out there. So it's case specific. In certain cases, if you're in sales, I don't see why you wouldn't want to have those numbers there, but it has to also be okay with the company, because, you don't want to publish things, that are, really specific to dollars if it's going to hurt them in any way, or if it's against their policies. Now, I don't disagree that this is, that you should be speaking to how you're helping these organizations. That's what those metrics are supporting. So maybe you're not using the dollar amount if that's not allowed. Maybe you're using a percentage. Maybe we're talking about how you've done a 30 or 40% increase, how these things have contributed to overall growth, yada, yada, yada. So it's just in the way that it's written, honestly. And also you have to make sure that you know what's acceptable and what's not based on the company itself. So a lot of people, in my experience, have not used dollar amounts unless it's been allowed. So keeping the revenue numbers out is a popular choice. But again, they're case by case. I can't say it's a one size fits all, because it's not. Everybody's different.
Okay. I definitely want to give a shout out to my dude, Donald from New York. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Go Yankees.
Yes. Ms. Young said that she has to work on her banner for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
just like me, I need to make sure that my banner resonates with my ideal client. She's saying she's definitely gonna have to make sure that her banner makes sense as
Mm-hmm.
well. And then she talked about a tagline, making sure that that resonates with her as well.
Yeah.
Let me see here what else we have. Okay, this is something else that this person said. I am working for clients with $15 million and beyond regional sales. I would disregard your profile. Okay. So I guess what he's saying is that if I understand correctly, they're saying that if I'm looking for a candidate, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I guess when it comes down to candidate, and my profile right now is not set up for individuals that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for work per se, let's say, but I'm just showing my accomplishments. I guess if I was looking for a job that was $15 million and beyond, then I can understand that I'll have to have my profile resonates that. And if I haven't accomplished that, so I guess that I'm not at that level yet in my career. So I guess that will make sense. Let me see what else we have here. And then we got Brian. He says, "You're a daring brother. It's live and under the fire." Yeah, man. She was definitely giving me the skinny exactly what I need to change. So, and definitely, Brian, recommend you to connect with her. She'll give you some sound advice. Here we go. So lastly, then Ms. Young says skill section is a hot spot for soul searching, or soul searches. Huh. I never thought about that. I guess you're right. And let's see what else we got here. She give us some love. I got Chris Whitmire in the house from Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks very much for tuning in. And let me see what else here. I think this might be the same person who said LinkedIn is a marketing tool, not a resume. You are looking to generate interest only. You want someone to reach out. So what's your thoughts on that, Janine?
That's that piece that I was saying about attracting the right people to you, right? So it's exactly right. It's a marketing tool. That's what a personal brand is. So I always approach them from that personal branding perspective. And LinkedIn absolutely 100% is a marketing tool. That's what it's for. Even if you're a candidate and you're looking for work, and I know right now there's a lot of people that are out of jobs, especially with COVID. And you mentioned that earlier. You still, you will get looked over if you're not providing your unique value, and you're not showing recruiters or employers what you're all about and what it is that you actually provide. This is the place where you get to stand out, and that's what you want to do. You want to be able to attract the right people to you, and the right companies to you that you want to do business with or you want to work for, because you've been able to provide value through your LinkedIn profile. I think that's what he means by a marketing tool. But a personal brand is your first step to doing that.
That's true. Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Now, as I said, I think I'm already in overtime. So so thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. Outside of what you shared with us so far, dissecting my profile, sharing advice, talking about why individuals should choose you versus other individuals here on LinkedIn, giving profile advice. What else we haven't covered as of yet that folks needs to know about you, please?
About me?
Yes, and how about you, and also lastly, how to connect with you.
Yeah, so obviously you can check me out on LinkedIn. Definitely go to my profile. It's Janine Hogan. Reach out to me there. Send me a direct message. Let me know that you saw us on this live video, and that will help me to know how you found me. And in terms of what you could do after this video, if you wanted to go to the website and schedule your own LinkedIn profile review, I will tell you that they're usually only 30 minutes. This was a special case because we're doing a live video for you guys, and Chello was kind enough and brave enough to put himself out there. And I'm so glad that you did, because I think that a lot of people will benefit from doing this. So you can go to my website, hogancopywriting.com, click on the Book Online tab, schedule your profile review with me. We'll spend 30 minutes going over your profile. We'll talk about your LinkedIn goals and how your profile needs to support that. And this is a complimentary session. You know, I encourage you guys to check out the podcast, the All-Star LinkedIn Profiles podcast. That has a lot of great actionable tips that you can use along the way. So even after the profile review or after this video, if you want to just have a resource, it's a great resource to go back and reflect on. I do some interviews with select people, but I try to keep the other episodes short and sweet so that you can listen to them quickly, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you can actually put that information to use for you. One other thing that I want to comment on is, your profile is not the end all be all. It's your activity on LinkedIn that helps to drive awareness. It helps to support you as an industry leader or as someone that's knowledgeable and has knowledge to share. You want to really connect with your audience through your content as well. So your status updates are really important, and being able to put information out there that will make other people feel smarter or feel like they want to share with their audience because it helped them, or maybe that teaches them something or inspires them. But just keep in mind that this is a professional network, so keep it relevant, keep it industry related, share content that is meaningful and that you feel will help your audience. And that's one way to be successful with LinkedIn.
Janine, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for providing, as you mentioned earlier, actionable advice. But quite frankly, I'll go one step further and say that you've been providing sage advice, because the advice that you're giving, this is the kind of advice that we all need to get, rather than getting the proverbial advice that we see in our feed. I hope a lot of people value what you shared. And mind you, I appreciate your time immensely. So thank you very much for doing this for my audience, my network, and thank you very much for sharing your knowledge with the people that are watching this live and also replay. So I can't stress it enough. If you like what you heard today, share this with your community, connect with Janine. It doesn't hurt to take some time and schedule our calendar. I'll tell you this much: she's booked up. I had to schedule it several days in advance to talk to her. So definitely want to recommend you to do that today. When you see this, go on our profile, click to go to our website and schedule to a 30-minute profile review. I recommend that for everyone. Janine, I can't thank you very much, so much for doing this today. And you have everyone that's watching us live here on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for watching us live, and everyone that's watching the replay. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you too. I appreciate you so much, and I'm so glad that we did this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care, and you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching us today. Bye now.